Hello, my name is Vanessa Guzman, educator and licensed therapist, and I've worked with thousands of children and families. But when I'm not working, I am watching these shows, watching these movies, and I wanted to provide you the tea and takeaways with my hat of experience of being an educator and a licensed therapist. So, this is on episode 5 of Good American Family, which comes out on Hulu. On the episode before this, it was that the parents have left Natalia Grace, which is the child who looks like a child but is really 22 years old. They've discovered her age. They left her off at her new home. And the new home is really, I mean, it's bare bones, right? It doesn't have any decor. Not that that's really important, but it does have things that she supposedly needs, right? So it has food. They have a lot of canned food, some crackers, and maybe peanut butter and things like that. It has a TV, so it has some entertainment, and it's safe to a degree in terms of, she's not exposed to anything bad. She has a bathroom, soap, right? So it has, when you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as far as having the food and the things that you need in order to survive, and then after that is safety, it has the bottom foundation of the pyramid, so to speak. And it's interesting because they left you there and kind of like, good luck. Tell people you're 22 years old and you just look young of age and stay out of trouble. And they seem as though they're checking off the boxes. But here is where I have slight compassion for Natalia Grace. Now, I've got to share with you, if you've seen the episodes prior to this, she tries to kill the family. So she pulls a mom into an electric fence. She says she wants to like bury the brothers alive, and roll them in a blanket and bury them in the backyard. So there is like the crazy to her, but I do have some compassion because the parents say, you're off, live on your own, figure it out. You're 22 years old, fair, but she's little, right? She's whatever it is, dwarfism or whatever the case is. And they leave her here with not even a ladder to climb the counter and get to the high cabinets. So when you think of what a person really needs, like that is a little unfair because the kid and not the kid, the girl or young lady, and she had to get on a chair and she has like issues with her balance and her feet as it is. So she had to pull over a chair and then climb on top of the counter and then get to the high cabinets. And then she's never done anything for herself. So all of these canned foods, she didn't even know how to use a manual can opener in order to open them. So I did have some compassion there because you would think that like she'd at least be able to eat, and she eventually figured it out, but she did have a hard time. Now I know, again, she has threatened to kill the family. And by 22, you should be able to figure this out. But that is one of my main takeaways that I wanted to share with you today because sometimes we do this to our own real life kids as well. We say, you should know this. You should know how to study. You should know how to clean up your room. You should know how to fold clothes. But have we really stopped and taught them these things step by step in order for them to meet their level of success, right? So make sure that we get those words right. Their level of success. You know that if you give a 5-year-old a shirt to fold, they may crumple it up and do something, but that is their level of success for where their like, fine motor skills are to kind of fold a shirt. Just to give you an example. This person at 22 years old with dwarfism, with obvious trauma from beforehand, and obvious I say because what kind of person without trauma just wants to, go kill their families, right? The family that adopted them. So obvious things that this kid has been through. Again, not kid, looks like a kid, but is 22 years old, and they should know how to feed themselves, but they've never had to do that. So that's something that I want you to really take away again for your own child, or maybe your people who work under you, or whatever the case is. You have to know, or you have to be able to teach in order for everybody to start on that baseline that you want them to perform at, so to speak, in order for them to go from there. So she can't even bathe herself. So that's something else. We want to make sure that whenever we do something for other people, especially our kids, that they're able to do the things in order to meet their level of success. And so later on in the episode, she sees her adoptive mom on TV. She's talking about love and kids, and every child has the right to be able to love and all of these things. She sees that she has written a book. Natalia Grace goes to the library, gets the book, comes back, and then really loses it because never once on TV and never once in the book is she included. And she really loses it when she sees that they take a picture and they show her hand holding her mom's hand, but then she's cut off. So she is like not even present in any, part of all of this advertisement for this book or in the book. And again, I understand where the family's coming from. She has tried to kill the family. After, when we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs again, after the foundation of having what you need in order to live, food, right? And then safety and shelter, the next part is love and belonging. And Natalia really, when it comes down to it, she just wants to belong to a family. She dug herself a hole in this one, but that's really what she's looking for. And then she loses it because she notices that she really is all by herself. Nobody cares for her. Nobody's asking for her. Nobody is coming to check up on her until somebody calls CPS and then the dad shows up, right? So that you'll see that in the episode. But nobody is really looking after her, and to go through life without a sense of inclusion, of love, of belonging to something, whether that thing be an organization or as basic as a family, that leaves her with a hole in her heart. So then it leads me to the next takeaway. So that's takeaway number two. Takeaway number three is once she feels that missing void that she has, that wow, no, like, I'm not really part of this family. She starts kind of replaying the mom's voice in her head, telling her to, if you really want these privileges, you got to do this, you got to clean up, you got to have good hygiene. So she tries to almost repent and reform, and she starts cleaning up her house and really trying to take care of herself. And again, obviously, this 22-year-old person has been through a lot. So they do the best that they can. She does the best that she can. However, then it comes to where she's met with the mom, right? The situation leads to the dad and the mom come to visit her on two separate occasions, and nobody wants to hear her out. And it is hard, obviously, once you have experienced somebody trying to kill you, for you to give them some compassion or some empathy. But she is here trying to start again, right? To repent, to reform, to start anew. And without therapy, without doing the deep work of therapy, without having somewhere to even have the conversation, it is hard to do that on your own. But then when nobody wants to hear you out, it's even worse because then why even try if nobody's trying to even give you a chance? And when I was viewing that, it made me think of people who are incarcerated, right? Here they are, they did something, they broke the law in some type of way to land themselves in jail. And some of them do have the opportunity to get out early or whatever, formal word that is. But are they given the opportunity to work through that, or are they doing that by themselves, right? And sometimes, if it's not therapy, it's a spiritual leader, it's a coach, it's somebody of some way to help them really work out all of the things that are happening in their minds and trying to, just start again in some way. And again, although she has her own issues, I did feel bad for Natalia Grace because here she is really trying, and the mom is not even working with her. She gives her the basics. She finds her a home. She gives her food. She says, this is a school that you're going to enroll to get a GED. And that is now my fourth and final takeaway is that even with our kids, we say, well, you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have clothes, you go to school, you have what you need. But my friends, we as humans need more than that. Once we have the basic things that we need to like stay alive, then we need to stay alive in our souls and in our hearts. And that is again inclusion, love, belonging, and having somebody there that's going to care for you, not care for you in your basic needs, but care for you as far as your soul and your heart. So who knows where the series is going to go on from here. I'll be really honest with you. I thought that's the episode 4 was the end. I was like, okay, they figured out she's 22, they put her in a home and like that's the end of it. But there are a couple more episodes after this. So even though I'm really surprised, I really want to also know like where are they going to take it from here? Is there much more drama to fill in? And I guess that there is, and it's just insane that this is based on a true story. How much of it is true and how much of it's just for Hollywood? I mean, you got to make a show out of it. So I'm sure there is a lot of Hollywood in there. But I was just surprised that the series keeps on going And I will keep on going as long as the series keeps on going to give you the tea and takeaways. So tell me what you think. Leave it in the comments below. Right now, we're reviewing Good American Family. We've talked about adolescence on Netflix. And my friends, I just heard that Bravo is coming out with a show on the children of a lot of the Real Housewives from, I guess, different states. I'm going to be really interested in that because, again, being a specialist that works with kids and to see where they have come to and then where they're going, I'm really curious. So leave me your thoughts. And until next time, we'll see you soon.